So I've really been thinking about Hanzo mains for a long time. They've been a matter of discussion, they've gone up and down, and everyone's been, kind of deciding whether they want to accept them or not. And while they have become a lot more accepted than in the past, mainly because players like wraxu, they're doing so good, and some other really nice players as well, kind of showing off what he can do, I feel like there's still this kind of natural hatred towards Hanzo, some natural distaste for the character. And I'm always trying to pinpoint my finger onto it. And today I want to go over the main things that I feel like personally a lot of people seem to dislike about the character. With that said, of course, you may have your own opinion on this, and if you have a certain thing that you think I really missed and that you think I should have talked about, please leave it in the comment section down below, and definitely why you think that way. Anyways, as far as Hanzo himself, he's a pretty okay character. He's done pretty decently lately. He was very bad in tank meta, but in Season 4 and Season 5, he's done overall quite well with all these squishies that he can one-shot. Of course, with his new buff that makes him a lot better. There's a lot of stuff really going for Hanzo right now, but there still seems to be quite a few people that just don't simply like the character. And here's my first reason why I feel like some people may not like him. And that's because they have the stigma in themselves from the past that he's still a terrible hero. Now, I know that this shouldn't be a thing that should hold a character back from being liked or hold a character back from people treating okay and competitive, but it's something that's definitely going to last for a while. Until we see a lot more consistent Hanzos in every single game, I feel like people are just going to overall think that he's still a terrible hero because for quite a while, he was quite bad. Not unplayable, but definitely below the average hero. As he is right now, he can actually do quite well. We see quite a few in Masters, a decent amount in Grandmasters, and then of course in Diamond there's a decent amount, and then as we go a little bit further down, it starts to populate quite well, and I guess it's up to you guys to decide whether those players are good or bad or whatever. That's not really up for me. But definitely there's a lot more players, but I feel like a lot of these players do have to deal with the fact that everyone still thinks that he's a bad character because he was bad. You have a perception in your head of the strength of the character. He used to be able to not have way too much accuracy, honestly. Of course, his arrows weren't nearly as big, and overall, the characters he had to fight, the tanks, he couldn't do that great against. And just kind of how the meta went, especially versus McCree, he couldn't do way too great against either. As it is right now, again, he is pretty decent, but I think that's one thing that's definitely holding him back. Another thing that I feel like does hold his kit back quite a bit, and I wouldn't really say his kit, the character in general, I'm gonna say, is the fact that his kit is somewhat naturally unreliable. In general, I'd say, but definitely in the wrong hands. Now, whenever we watch a player like wraxu playing Hanzo, he can play Hanzo reliably, get a lot of headshots, get a lot of body shots, get a ton of damage out, get a decent accuracy, whatever, and do quite well. And, he's actually a somewhat reliable pick, and the higher you get onto the ladder, the more dang reliable he becomes. And the more often I feel like you can pick him without really being way too bad for your team. He can be a great pick at a certain rank. I'd say even Platinum Plus, he can do okay at least. However, I feel like there's a problem about his kit is that it is always at least somewhat unreliable. Of course, being a somewhat slow-moving projectile character that focuses on getting one-shot headshots, or otherwise, I guess, one-shot E-shots, and other than that, not being able to do way too much, you kind of have to think about just how much his kit focuses on that one thing, and how that one thing can either be very good, happen very often, or how you just might not luck out. You might not get any kills. Or on the other hand, you might just be blocked by a ton of barriers. The enemy team might be diving on you well. There's a lot of different situations that could hurt off your kit quite a bit and make you feel a lot less reliable, make you get a lot less kills, and kind of go on from there. As well, I feel like a lot of Hanzos play like a 100% sniper, and while Hanzo can get some really nice snipes from like halfway across the map, instant headshots, I'm not going to say that those are reliable kills. I don't want to use the word luck because everybody gets angry when I say that, but I do feel like they are somewhat luck-based because you pretty much have to guess on the chance that someone will walk into where your arrow is going to be going, take them off from there at long range. Of course, you can predict this well, but if they walk back for a second for no reason, just because humans do that sometimes, or if they teleport forward as Tracer and dodge it on accident, or any situation appears, maybe a Reinhardt puts down a barrier, anything like that, there you go. It's just kind of lucky if you're going to hit them or if you aren't going to hit them. And that kind of makes his far range a bit unfortunate and a bit unreliable. With that said, his medium and close range I feel like can be very reliable. I feel like can definitely get a lot of kills out and get them without way too much hassle. However, again, it can be dodged by quite a bit of stuff, it can be blocked, and mainly, I feel like it does take a huge amount of skill to really learn this skill, and without having a huge amount of skill to be able to aim way too well, to be able to predict and be able to track people's movement, I feel like that does shove Hanzo's reliability down quite a bit. Anywhere really below Masters and probably at Masters. And the problem is when Hanzo becomes less reliable, he's not getting out his damage quite as much, he's not really able to do quite as much, and after it hits that point, it just kind of feels like, why are we not picking someone like Soldier that, while he might not be able to get as many quick, effective kills, he can get out more reliable damage, and then we can have the other DPS finish off the kills. I feel like that's another problem that people kind of feel about their Hanzos. They just feel like their Hanzos aren't doing anything. You can often hear that, you know, you're typing a Hanzo, you aren't doing anything. It's not that you're not doing anything, it's just that you're not getting these reliable one-shot headshots. And if you get a body shot, that doesn't always help your team way too much, which is, you know, kind of troublesome, but just kind of how the game works a little bit. As far as the final reason why I feel like people do kind of dislike these Hanzo players, though, is the fact that some people see god-tier Hanzo players. They see wraxu, they see whoever the heck else you want to look at, Seagull, and then these players will pick up Hanzo when they have no idea how to play him, say that he's a good pick, and go in from there. Now, I've told you my previous reasons of why I feel like he's somewhat unreliable, and how those can go away with more skill and with more practice. However, I feel like the thing that makes people, number one, not believe in Hanzos and not think that they can do this, not really like Hanzo mains and players that just randomly pick him, is the fact that if you don't know how to play him very well, and if you just happen to pick him up because you saw this really good player picking him, and you only have like 5 hours maybe on quick play and like 10 seconds on competitive, you're not going to do way too great. And a lot of players are doing that right now. A lot of players are picking him up. Not necessarily throwing games on purpose, but not doing that great as him. Making that your team has to make up for quite a bit of your slack, and sometimes you can do amazing. Sometimes you can get a ton of headshots, sometimes you can get a ton of effective limbs, a lot of body damage, anything like that. I'm not going to say that can't happen, but a lot of the times, if you just aren't way too proficient as him, and if you just see a god-tier Hanzo and expect that that's going to be you after watching a few videos, it's not. And that's what I feel like, I guess, a lot of people kind of get angry at. People that think that they're these gods that really aren't. This does happen with a lot of other characters as well. Tracer, Genji, just to name a few. But I feel like Hanzo is one of the guys that, I don't know, people kind of like to point fingers at and blame for at least that type of thought process. But anyways, in my own opinion, those are mainly the things that I feel like make people somewhat dislike, I guess, hate Hanzo mains, or people that just pick Hanzo, anywhere in between that. Now, of course, again, this isn't people that always hate Hanzo mains. Of course, some people like them, some people dislike them. But I feel like definitely in our community, there's quite a bit more dislike than like for this character. And I'm going to say it probably stems somewhat, at least, from what I said earlier in this video. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Hope you enjoyed my little bit more calm stature, I guess, in this video. If you thought that was fun, make sure to tell me, and I can keep it a little bit slower and talk more throughout my mind and whatever, I don't know. We can try to continue with this if you guys want me to. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Subscribe for more, comment down below, or press like if you want to support the channel at all. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.